Hello and welcome to the Cristo Rey Network Virtual College Fair. We are so excited to have you participating in our event this evening. My name is Jennifer and I will be your facilitator. We have some fantastic schools with us today. I'm really excited to introduce them to you and have all the representatives share about their exciting opportunities. So each school will have 6 minutes to share about their institution. They will be around though for the entire session to answer your questions. So before we get started, I've got a few more housekeeping items. Your camera and your microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can though use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. You can direct it to a specific school by including the school's name, or you can leave a question for all of our representatives to answer about each of their institutions. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website where you registered for this session. And this presentation is being recorded. It's going to be available in the coming days at strivescan.com/Cristo Rey. All right, well, I'm really excited to get started and I'm ready to turn it over to our very first presenter. We're going to be learning all about Haverford College.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina. I work at Haverford. I'm going to share my screen, so bear with me 1 second. All right. So I'm going to talk very quickly about some things about Haverford to give you all a sense of who Haverford is as a college. So we are a small private liberal arts and sciences college. We're located right outside of Philadelphia, about 8 miles from the center of the city. So these are some quick facts about us and who we are. When I say we're small, we have 1,472 undergraduates and we don't have any graduate students. So our student body is one that really knows each other very well, and that have a really wonderful community where when you walk around campus, you see everyone you know. When you walk into class, you know all your classmates, and your professors know your name, know your face. 98% of our students live on campus, which helps to create that community that's really living and learning community in many different ways. You can also see here some information about where our students are from and identities that they may hold. And I want to highlight that in our class of 375 incoming students, over half of our students identify as students of color. And so there's really many different perspectives that our students bring from many different areas of the US and areas of the world as well. To make sure that all of our students feel supported on Haverford's campus, we meet 100% of demonstrated need for all students that apply to Haverford and apply for financial aid and are admitted. So what that means is when you are applying to Haverford, if you're applying for financial aid, we use your financial aid application, the CSS profile, and FAFSA to determine what your family can afford to pay, and then we make up for the rest of it in scholarships and grants. There's a maximum of $3,000 a year and loans for people who qualify for loans, but that is not for anyone whose family income is below $60,000 a year. So we do our best to make sure all students have the ability to access a Haverford education financially. I mentioned earlier that Haverford is located right outside of Philadelphia, and that means that students have very easy access to the city of Philadelphia while also enjoying our wonderful, beautiful campus. And so students have that core campus that is the place where you live, the place where you attend class and you spend time with your classmates. But on the weekends or even during the week, you have the chance to go into Philadelphia to do things that are fun, but also to do internships and to volunteer and take advantage of all the resources that exist in the 6th largest city in the US. Our location also means that we are able to be part of a consortium. So we're partnered with Bryn Mawr College, Swarthmore College, and the University of Pennsylvania. Students can take classes at all of those different schools. Students can even major at Bryn Mawr. And so that means that you have access to over 2,000 classes throughout our consortium. So there are going to be classes in any of the subjects that you're interested in, any of the niche areas of your field that you're interested in, so that you can explore really anything that you want. And then you also have access to the activities that happen in all of those campuses and things that you might want to go to or clubs you might want to do with students off of Haverford's campus so that you have a broader community that you can be part of as well. And we provide buses to and from the other campuses, specifically to and from Bryn Mawr and Swarthmore, and then there's public transportation to Penn to make sure that that's easy for students to do and logistically possible for our students to access. We think it's really important for students to explore academics outside of the classroom. And so we have a few different academic centers that will sponsor research and internship opportunities. And these three centers, so we have the Center for Sciences, the Center for Humanities and Arts, and the Center for Peace and Global Citizenship. Collectively, all three of these centers sponsor about 160 students every summer to do research and internships across the US and also across the world. So there's a lot of opportunities there for you to be able to learn about the things that you're learning in the classroom in the real world and gain real world experience, or to research in depth those topics in settings off of our campus as well. Every student at Haverford is going to take many different classes in different fields throughout their time at Haverford, but they all finish doing the senior thesis. And so that's graduate level research that you are required to do in your final year, and it's an opportunity for you to decide what do you want to specialize in. You get to choose the topic of your senior thesis. It can be anything related to your major, and then you have a professor who supports you one-on-one in being able to complete that research. And so this is an opportunity for you to really go deep into the things that you care about, the things that you are interested in, and to have proof of your ability to do research, your ability to do independent projects, and your own expertise as you're graduating from Haverford and moving into whatever you do after your time at Haverford. Or in terms of what happens for fun on campus, we have a whole bunch of different clubs that meet all the time and have lots of different activities and options for students. My favorite of this list of examples is the first one, Fords Against Boredom. And that's a club that is meant really to provide fun activities and community bonding activities for all of our students. And so that club is a group of students who organize different activities that they're interested in. And so they might bring food trucks to campus or have a carnival with a bouncy house on campus, or they might organize field trips to go to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, as you can see in the top picture on the left over there. And so that provides a lot of different opportunities for the whole student body, but then we also have many different clubs that are based around identities and interests that students have to allow students to explore their interests outside of the classroom as well. Haverford was founded by Quakers, and so we're not a religious institution anymore, but we do really value voice and agency and individual people. And part of that means that we have a huge emphasis on our students having a voice in our campus. And so we have something that we call shared governance, which means that in all of the committees on Haverford's campus that make decisions about things that are going to happen at Haverford, that make decisions about professors that will be hired, there are faculty and staff on those committees, but also there are students. And so students have an equal say in those conversations about what's going to happen next at Haverford. And students are also the ones who write and run the honor code, which guides many other aspects of life at Haverford. I could talk for much longer about Haverford, but I'll leave it there. And if you have questions, please let me know, and I will put my contact information in the chat as well. Thank you all so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Christina, for starting us off and sharing all about Haverford. We're going to be moving on to school number 2 and hearing from Villanova University.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm going to put my timer on so I can time myself. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Jimana Chowdhury. I serve as an assistant director in the Office of Undergraduate Admission at Villanova, and it's nice to be with all of you today. So Villanova University is a 4-year private Catholic university, and we are located in Pennsylvania. We are the nation's only Augustinian university, and what that means is that we were founded by the Order of St. Augustine, and at the core of everything that we do, we follow the Augustinian kind of way. So truth, unity, and love is our founding values, and basically at the core of everything that we do here at Villanova. So we hope that by you coming here, you will also seek the truth about yourself, the world around you. You will be honest, you will give back if you have the opportunity to do so. Villanova University is located about 12 miles west of Philadelphia, which is the 6th largest city in the country. And that does put you in a pretty good location because it allows you to kind of have the best of both worlds. The immediate area around campus is very calm and quiet, but then you can hop on either one of the 2 trains that run through campus, making it really easy for you to kind of move around, get to Philadelphia if you wanted to hang out there for a day of fun, or if you wanted to go out there for a job or an internship, which a lot of our students do. It's a really great way to kind of get off campus and get involved. Philadelphia is also a very historic city, so there's lots of, fun activities that happen, a really good food scene. So it really is a nice place for students to kind of go and hang out for the day if they wanted to. Here at Villanova, we have 4 undergraduate colleges that host our 100 majors and minors. And here is a list of them. So you've got College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Villanova School of Business, College of Engineering, and Fitzpatrick College of Nursing. 2 things I want to note here that are going to be important for the application process is that when you apply to us, we ask that you apply directly into one of these 4 undergraduate colleges. So you're either going directly into nursing, engineering, business, or College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. In terms of doing a double major or a major and a minor, which is very common amongst our students, those are conversations you'll have once you get here and you meet with your academic advisor. But again, for the sake of the application, you are applying directly into one of these 4 colleges. The other things I want to mention, about the application process is if you are thinking about nursing, we do ask that you complete a biology and a chemistry course in high school. If you're thinking about engineering, we ask that you complete a physics course. And if you're thinking about Villanova School of Business, if it is offered at your high school, we would like to see 1 unit or 1 year of calculus. But again, if you want to know more about these colleges, I'll be here the rest of the night and I'll be happy to answer those questions. So here at Villanova, our total undergraduate population is 6,700. Depending on who you ask, some students will say that's big, some will say that's small, but nationally we do rank as a mid-sized university, which again allows you to kind of keep some of the same friends, but also make some new connections as well. Our students are usually pretty involved. There's always something going on campus. So we have about 300 clubs and organizations that you can participate in, sorority and fraternities, 24 Division I sports for both men and women, and tickets are included in your tuition. So I would definitely recommend going to a game if you're on campus. And it's a really great way to kind of be amongst your community and really feel that Villanova spirit. So in terms of the application, we are a Common App school. So you'll find us exclusively on the Common Application. And on the Common Application, you will be filling out your biographical data only once, which is a great way to make it easy to apply to colleges. And then you'll fill out your activities resume and your Common App essay. And then for Villanova, there is a short supplemental portion with 2 short essay questions that you will also be filling out. On top of that, we will also be needing a high school transcript, a teacher recommendation, which will be required, and a counselor recommendation will be optional this year. Now, I know test scores have been a hot topic for the past couple of years. But this year, if you're applying to us in the coming weeks or months, we are still test optional. So that means that it is entirely up to you what you like to do. We just ask that you tell us which one you are doing. In terms of financial aid, we do require the FAFSA application and the CSS profile as well. So you want to make sure that you submit both. I know this year FAFSA is revamping the application. So once that becomes available on December 1st or whenever in December, you want to make sure that you get that in because we will need both to evaluate how much aid you are eligible for. Now, I know, I have limited time. I would love to keep telling you about Villanova, but I want to be respectful. So if you have any questions or you think of any questions, leave them in the Q&A, of course, but you can also reach out to us at any time at any of these emails, and we're always happy to connect with you and answer any questions that you may have. And with that being said, in 37 seconds to spare, I will turn it over to the next person.
Thank you so much for presenting and sharing all about Villanova and giving a little shout out to that Q&A box. So we've had a couple questions get dropped in there. So just a reminder to all of our attendees, if anyone new has joined us, welcome. If you have questions for our representatives, you can use the Q&A. You can leave a question for any representative to answer or include the name of the school if you're looking for a response from a particular representative. And now I'm going to hand it over to our next school. We're going to be hearing all about Franklin and Marshall College.
Hello, everyone. Just give me a second real quick. So good evening. My name is Matt Arant. I am the Assistant Director of Regional Admission at Franklin and Marshall College. I'm actually not based on campus personally. I'm based in Texas, but I've covered a lot of Cristo Rey schools across the country, down in Texas, over in Alabama, and I had Philadelphia once upon a time too. So I'm very familiar with y'all's network. So just a brief overview of F&M. 2,000 students, all undergraduate as well, 41 states, 50 countries. 1 out of 5 of our students are international as well, and about 24 to 25% are domestic students of color, and about 35% of our students study abroad. Kind of goes with the global campus we offer our students. We're about an hour or so, hour and change west of Philadelphia, depending on whether you're taking the train or driving. 3 hours from New York, 2 hours from DC, an hour and a half from Baltimore. So we're in our own sort of college town, but still accessible to all those major cities on the East Coast. We have Amtrak service that's about a 10-minute walk from campus as well. So you're not going to be stuck on campus. You have that accessibility to those major areas as well without actually being in those cities itself. As I mentioned, all undergraduate campus means small class sizes, discussion-based curriculum rather than lecture style. It's very much a collaborative environment in which you're speaking with your fellow students as well as faculty from day one, not just for your major specific courses. We have about 62 fields of study that kind of spans the spectrum of arts, humanities, social sciences, lab sciences, you name it. And additionally, at F&M, you don't officially declare your major until the end of your sophomore year. So in contrast to applying to a specific college or major, you're applying to us just as a student. You get those 2 years to figure out what you're passionate about, as well as your skills, and kind of develop that academic plan as you go as a student. So I did briefly mention about kind of the global nature of our campus. We actually have a unique opportunity for first years at our satellite campus in Bath, England. It's called IF&M. It is a cohort of 10 to 12 domestic and international first-year students. We actually start your educational journey in Bath, England, and it's actually on-site F&M faculty mentors teaching classes. It's not the local professors as well. So it's an F&M program, just not in Lancaster too. And as you can see, we have trips to London, Stonehenge, Stratford-upon-Avon. And then the beauty of being overseas in Europe, the world's a lot smaller that way. So you can get to a lot of other cities in that time frame too, a lot easier than flying back and forth across the Atlantic. In terms of what to do after graduation, we're kind of jumping around time-wise. We have what's called the Office of Student Postgraduate Development. It's OSPGD. We call it OSPGD for short. This is our version of career services, but the main thing is the intentional proactivity of this program. So a model that focuses on engagement early and often. It's not your normal career services in which only juniors and seniors utilize the services. It's first year sophomores as well. As you can see, we have an 85% engagement rate across all class years. So that's showing our students on campus are pretty engaged with the process early on. They're not just waiting until that last year and a half to figure out, oh, what am I supposed to do after graduation, whether it's going into professional school, graduate school, or the workforce. And we have actual hands-on guidance for those looking to go those professional school routes. So pre-health, pre-law, pre-STEM. So med school, law school, vet school, PT school, dental school. We have additional advising for those students to take advantage of that as well. And as you see, we have very strong admission rates to both law and medical schools, as well as a successful landing rate for graduate school or employment. And if you go on our website, you actually see where our folks are going to those places. We're not just going to give you the number and leave it there. We'll show you how many of our students are getting Fulbright scholarships, or how many of our students are working at Deloitte, or how many of our students are going to Harvard Law or Penn Vet School, things like that. So we really show you those specific destinations as opposed to the numbers themselves. In terms of the application process, we accept either the Common or Coalition app. No application fee if you apply by December 1st. We have 2 different types of rounds, early decision and then regular decision. So you see on the screen here, we have 2 ED rounds and then 1 RD round. Interviews are encouraged but not required. It's part of a holistic review of the process through academics, extracurriculars, interviews, things like that. It's very much one piece of your entire application. We've been test optional for over 30 years. And so we're not a COVID-19 test optional school. We know what those applications look like with or without test scores for a while now. And we require 1 academic recommendation as well as 1 council recommendation. In terms of financial aid, we are a FAFSA and CSS profile school. Also, we meet 100% institution determined need for all 4 years for all of our students. So first years, transfers, international, and domestic. And most recently, we are offering a limited merit-based aid as well. So we're still meeting full financial need, but also offering another form of aid for those folks that may not qualify for need-based aid. As you see, we award about $60 million in aid each year. and about 65%, give or take, receive some form of aid for us each year. One final thing before wrapping things up, we have another scholarship. It's called the Leadership Scholarship, which is affiliated with not your test scores or your need. It's all about leadership. And there's a cohort-based model too. That's a very unique program. So if you have specific questions like that, I'll be happy to answer those in the chat later. Have a good night.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing about Franklin and Marshall. We're moving on to our next school, and we're going to be learning all about Arcadia University.
Thank you. All right. Can you guys see my slides? Yes, fantastic. All right, guys. Well, my name's Darian Ryan, and I'm an assistant director of admissions here at Arcadia University. We always like to start off with beautiful visuals of Gray's Tower Castle. It is the heart and soul of Arcadia University and also a National Historic Landmark. So who we are as an institution, we are a smaller liberal arts school. We're about 1,800 undergraduate students, but what that means is that you have an excellent student to faculty ratio of 12:1, and your average class size is 14. Despite our smaller size, we do have over 65 different fields of study, including several pre-professional programs that lead to assured admissions into several of our graduate programs, because we have about 1,000 graduate students on campus as well. And some of those notable programs are our Masters of Physician Assistant, our Doctorate of Physical Therapy, which is top 25 in the nation, our Masters of Forensic Science, our Masters of International Peace and Conflict Resolution, which is very timely right now, but many more as well. So a little bit about where we are. As my friends here in the StriveScan presentation have said, we are kind of the best of both worlds as well. We are outside Philadelphia. We're in Glenside, which is a suburb to the north and the west. We're about a 20-minute train ride outside the city, and the Glenside Regional Rail Station is literally right down the street from campus, as well as 2 bus stops right outside campus. So what that means is during the week, our students are on our very scenic campus, but hey, maybe you want to eat a cheesesteak, you want to see a Phillies game, you want to go to the Walnut Street Theater, you want to take advantage of what the city has to offer. The fact that we're near an enriched, progressive historic city is such a benefit, and I would say that for all of the schools here. And as my, colleagues here have echoed, having a major metropolitan area nearby is such a critical component to students getting great placement in terms of internship and career opportunities. And since we are on the Northeastern Corridor, our students also take advantage of New York and Washington, D.C., and we do have Arcadia-sponsored programming in Washington, D.C. as well. So a little bit about student life on campus. We do have over 60 different clubs and organizations, ranging in everything from music and performance to student-run radios, book clubs, crochet clubs, a castle restoration society that holds murder mystery dinners. You name it, we probably have it. We have 26 NCAA Division III team sports, everything from men and women's indoor and outdoor track and field to esports, which is competitive video gaming. And we have a variety of intramural teams as well, everything from ultimate frisbee to equestrian. Our equestrian club actually has horse stables on the back of campus. So something that Arcadia is known for is study abroad. We have been top 10 in the nation for over a decade in study abroad participation. Over 80% of our students voluntarily engage in international programming, and that is so important to us because we want our students to deepen their understanding of the world and become globally minded citizens. We have over 130 programs that we offer abroad, and we have sent 70,000 students to 39 different countries. We have several Arcadia centers abroad, the largest being in downtown London, and these Arcadia centers actually have Arcadia faculty and staff who teach courses in these countries and are there to really curate the experience that our students go through in these kind of foreign locations. We have unique abroad experiences, so you can actually study abroad as soon as the spring semester of your first year or the fall semester of your second year. We call that Phi-Sci and Sci-Sci. We have internships abroad, so we send students to British and Scottish Parliament, to research labs in Brisbane, Australia, and that's kind of the best of both worlds in terms of practical experience, but again, getting that international perspective. We have global field studies courses, summers abroad, we have students who do a year abroad, so really the world is your oyster, and again, we find a lot of ways to subsidize and encourage this, and the cost to study abroad is actually the exact same cost as it is to be on campus in Glenside, so we really do make it affordable for our students. Switching gears to talk a little bit about career and internship opportunities again, over 80% of Arcadia students do engage in some sort of internship or field practicum while they're going through Arcadia's programming, and a lot of the majors actually have it built into their majors as well. And this really gives students the opportunity to get hands-on experience and really feel like you're committed and really feeling comfortable with what you're going into, because ultimately we want you to be excited about wherever it is that you're going to land. Something that is a really big part of Arcadia's identity is social impact, social justice, and civic engagement. And we tackle that in a number of different ways, different organizations on campus, fellowships, groups. So you'll see here we have a Center for Anti-Racist Scholarship, Advocacy, and Action. Our Social Action and Justice Fellowship is about diversifying the education field, and it heavily subsidizes tuition for students who are looking to go into the field of education. Our Civic Scholars have that social impact focus. Arcadia Votes is trying to get everyone out there, and they will be very busy in 2024. And we have a lot of community-based work studies where students are in local food pantries, in charities, in libraries, and classrooms, and really giving back to the community. So I will go ahead and end here to talk about a little bit of our application process. We are a student-centered application. So the only thing that you need is the Common App, which is fee-free, a high school transcript, and one letter of recommendation. We are test optional, essay optional. If you have a story to tell, go ahead and tell it. But, you know, put your best foot forward. Students are automatically considered for merit-based aid. And last year we awarded over $45 million in grants and scholarships to students. So I will end and say, we want you to venture beyond your expectations at Arcadia. And one last look at our scenic campus. Please feel free to email me, look at our visit opportunities. But otherwise, I thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Darian, for sharing Arcadia. Our next school today is going to be the University of Scranton.
Thank you so much. So we at the University of Scranton are a Catholic and Jesuit
Hey,
university.
Jillian, I just wanted to double check. If you wanted to, we can hear you. Oh, great. There
Sorry
we
about
go.
that.
We're getting you on camera now. It's okay.
Yep.
We all know Zoom.
Oh, goodness. So we are, of
away.
course, a Catholic and Jesuit university. So, of course, many of our students are Catholic, but we welcome students of all faiths and traditions. As a Jesuit university, our faculty, our staff, and our students, of course, work very hard to build a strong community. Our school was founded in 1888 as St. Thomas College, and we joined the Jesuit Order of the Society of Jesus and then became the University of Scranton. So being a Jesuit college, we do follow some key principles. The first Latin phrase that you may hear when on campus is the phrase cura personalis. Some of you may be familiar with that. That's care of the whole self or the whole person. It's a major term that we use in developing our individualized style of education and our personalized experience for every person who comes through our doors. Another term is the term magis, meaning that we are always striving to give every student a well-rounded education where they're always able to learn, to absorb, and to experience more, and then leave our campus and go off into the world. And finally, the phrase men and women for others, meaning that as much as these 4 years are about the students who are here, it's also about the individuals that are walking on this journey with you and caring for those individuals who are on this journey. We are, of course, a school of just under about 3,600 undergraduate students that some students, depending on who you ask, will say that's kind of big. Others will say, I've come from a high school of that size. 87% first year retention rate. So 87% of our sophomore students are returning from their freshman year. The average class size is about 20 students. So that means that there's about a 12-to-1 student ratio as well. So our students have the opportunity to cultivate and build those relationships. They're certainly not in a large classroom of, you know, hundreds of students. Rather, they're able to cultivate that relationship with their individual professors. So just under 70 majors, 48 minors, 34 graduate programs to choose from. Of course, honors programs for those individuals who are interested in pursuing one of the honors programs. A pre-health and pre-law advisory program that sits on top of the major of your choosing. Of course, faculty and student research projects and accelerated graduate programs for those who are interested. Another important thing about Scranton is that our students are incredibly involved, and we are certainly not a suitcase school. So during the weekends, our students are definitely engaging on campus in many of the clubs and organizations. About 90 plus clubs and organizations. So some are based on your major and some are more theme or event based. About 900 events hosted on campus throughout the year. 23 Division III athletic teams, and also clubs and intramural leagues for those of you who are interested. The University of Scranton, of course, is a place to call home. So along the same lines of us not being a suitcase school, we offer our students 4 years of guaranteed on-campus housing right in the center of Scranton. So the city of Scranton is just about 76,000 people last we checked. The campus is located on about 58 acres right in the heart of the city. And it's about a 2-hour commute between New York and Philadelphia. So certainly closer to some of those larger cities as well that are nearby. Excuse me. Of course, our division of campus ministry has actually clocked 175,000 hours of service per year in every corner of the world. Service, of course, is something that comes very naturally to Scranton students and to faculty and staff. We also have daily and daily mass offered to our individuals. And of course, interfaith resources for those individuals who are researching or who want to learn more about their current faith or perhaps another faith. And our retreat programs that are at Chapman Lake, which is a retreat center close to campus. We should have a picture of it here, but it's a beautiful center, again, up in about 20 miles north of campus. Additionally, we'll talk about some of the application deadlines. So our November 15th is our early application deadline. Our preferred deadline for applicants is March 1st, but of course we have a holistic approach to reviewing an application for any student. We love to see an official high school transcript, counselor recommendations, any activities, service, and leadership. Those things are all incredibly important. So ensure that you are telling the best story and you are presenting that information. We showed the middle 50%, GPA of about 3.46 to 4%, or I'm sorry, 4.00, SATs 1180 to 1330, and an ACT of 26 to 31. Excuse me. My apologies. All students are evaluated, of course, for merit-based scholarship. So sorry.
Jillian, if you need to take a drink of water or anything, please feel free to go ahead. I can just pause the time, just give you an extra second and take a little pressure off. Thanks everyone for understanding. I know we've all been in those moments, presenting or teaching or being in class. So just give Jillian a minute.
Thank you so much, everyone. My sincere apologies. Every student who applies to the University of Scranton, of course, is reviewed for your merit-based scholarship. So this is automatically evaluated when you apply. Your merit scholarship, of course, is reviewed and submitted in your application. Now, you'll also need your FAFSA, so that usually begins in December. I believe this year, in December 1st is the date that we'll want to submit those. Oops. And that actually wraps the slide. So my apologies, everyone. I'm sorry about that.
It's really okay. We understand. And I promise you still presented some incredible information about the University of Scranton. All right, so now we are going to move to our Q&A. So we do have a few more minutes. We want to give everyone a chance to, all of our representatives, to make sure that they can put their contact information in the chat if they haven't been able to do that yet, for all of our attendees to grab that information. So we're just gonna, and any last questions too, you can still pop them in the Q&A box. Also, I just want to let you know that that St. Vincent College wasn't able to join us in the session tonight, but please head to their website to check out all of their information and be in touch with the admissions counselor for your area so you can learn more about all of the incredible opportunities that they have in and outside the classroom. All right, so for our Q&A, thanks everybody for coming back on camera. I'm going to pose a question and have each of you answer it. We'll go in the same order that you presented. So from 1 through 5. So we'll start with Haverford and get to the University of Scranton. When the person ahead of you finishes answering, just turn on your microphone and you can just jump right in as we weave through each person. So my first question is, you are all the admissions pros and have so much great information to share. So what's one of your top tips to share with someone who's going through the college search process?
My tip, because I get to go first, is that I think you should be genuine to yourself, right? So you are the person, and as a student who is going to be experiencing college, you're the one who will have to live through those 4 years. So as you're going through the college search process, really think carefully about what it is that you want, what it is that you will need to support you, what will make you succeed. And then I know there are lots of opinions, lots of people giving you advice. And different people have different things that work well for them. And so don't compare yourself to other people. Think more about yourself. And you can talk with your family and ask them what they think you need, because they know you really well as well.
And I get to go next. And Christina said what I was going to say. But my advice to you would be, if you have the time, if you're currently a junior, senior, you still have a few more months, visit campuses if you have the time and the capacity to do so. And even if you can't go in person, since COVID, a lot of us do virtual tours, and that's a really great way to see a campus and also connect with students. So, make sure you get, all of those questions answered. So I would say, if you have the time, do that.
And this sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do this. Submit your stuff on time. Everything. Not just the application, not just your financial aid, not just your recs and transcripts, everything on time. You'll be surprised how many folks don't get that far through the process. So you would already separate yourselves from other folks by just minding the deadlines and submitting your things in a timely manner.
I would say that something I would give you as advice is think about spaces that you can use to tell us your story. I feel like a lot of times students think that we know them, and sometimes all we're receiving is kind of your academic information. So where there are spaces for you to upload a resume or talk in a personal statement about something that excites you, something that changed your life, something that is meaningful for you, go ahead and tell us that story, because the more that I know about you, the more I can kind of form a picture of you as an individual. And I might have two students who have the exact same academic profile, but I know a little bit more about a student and something that they did and something that changed their lives, and I might nominate you for an additional achievement award or something. But never assume that we know your story, and more information can only help, not hurt.
I echo that sentiment. We would say to tell us every single thing about yourself. We be your biggest advocate. If there's any time to brag about yourself and really let everyone know everything about you, now is that time in your life. You've worked really hard. Let everyone know so that we are able to look at that holistically and to view you as a whole person.
I love this question. I always like to remind the attendees, whether you're watching live or not, when someone was answering and you saw head nods, or I was also going to say that, these are representatives from different schools and they're agreeing with it and have some of the same top tips. So definitely know this is really great information to help you along the way. And you have great counseling staffs at each of your campuses to journey with you too. All right, next question. I know this is going to be really hard for everybody, but it's really fun. So what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? It could be a key top takeaway, or maybe something really awesome that you don't normally share in a presentation that you think is super memorable. So thanks, Christina, for starting us off again.
This is difficult because I only had a second to think about what is the one thing, and I have a million that I would like to share. But I think the one thing, and I talked about this when I was talking about Haverford, but the one thing I would say is that student voice is incredibly important at Haverford. Students have a lot of impact on not just the community itself, not just classes, but on actually how the institution is run. And that's something that's really amazing, because it means you get to have a lot of leadership and a lot of responsibility as soon as you arrive on our campus. I'll keep that very brief and stop there.
I would say our community is amazing. That's definitely the best part. But our students having the ability to give back is also really important. So together, our students do clock more than 250,000 hours of service each year, which goes back to our Caritas promise. So it's a really great way, again, to be amongst your community, to give back to the greater Philadelphia area in whatever way you can. And in line with service, we do have the world's largest student-run Special Olympics. So that's really special to us, something that we're really proud of. But again, if you're going to come to Villanova, service will be a big part of your experience.
Yeah, I think at F&M, it's collaborative, not competitive in terms of how we all work together, because our success hinges on each other's success. So it's not gonna be like a Top Gun where you have the piece of paper on the wall saying here's who's number one and here's who's number 2,100. So I think it really starts with that collaborative nature that goes through not only your classes, but your clubs, as well as just being a member of the campus, as well as Lancaster communities.
Well, I would say our castle at Arcadia, because that's what everyone remembers about Arcadia. But really, I want to emphasize again the social advocacy component of our campus. You know, our students are the ones who are out there enacting change, who are making differences. It starts small. It starts with our art students making bowls for our empty bowl dinner, where, you know, the community comes forward, they raise funds to kind of give back to the night food pantry and to the local community. And then they start thinking on grander scales and tackling bigger, you know, social justice movements. And, you know, I think that students think that, you know, they're just one voice, but when all those voices come together, it really does make a difference. So if you're passionate about social advocacy, you know, find your place here.
I would say for Scranton, remembering our true Jesuit mission is incredibly important, and knowing that we are all aligned and everyone at the University of Scranton is aligned to assist you on your journey is also incredibly important.
Wonderful. I love learning and getting just like a little more insight into what makes each of your campus communities just so very special and unique. All right, one last question. We're going to go back to your admissions professional expertise. You know, there's a lot of things that people say about the college admissions process, a lot of myths, a lot of just different comments from here and there. So what is one myth you would like to debunk about the college admissions process, and kind of what's the real deal behind that myth that you would want to share? So, thanks again, Christina.
Yeah, so the first myth that I'll share is related to things that have been happening recently about test optional. So I think for a lot of students, you hear the word test optional and you think, well, it can't really be optional, because if you have the choice to submit it or not submitting it means that when I don't submit it, the person on the other end is wondering why, or is assuming that I had a bad score if I don't submit it. That is not true. Optional means optional. If we're telling you it's optional, and I'm saying this because Haverford is test optional, then it's up to you whether you want to submit your score. When I look at that, I'm not trying to guess why you're not submitting it. I'm just taking it at face value that you didn't submit your score. And so we look at other parts of your application rather than thinking about that test score.
I would definitely say that sometimes students can think that they need to take a certain amount of workload, and everyone's going to be, you know, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be competitive. And that's not true at all. This is all within the context of your opportunity. And each of us, when we look at transcripts, we look at your high school profile, we'll look at who you are, what kind of opportunities you had. So don't ever feel like you're pressured and you have to take all the APs and all the IBs and do all the things. We look at you as an individual. So make sure that you are spending, again, that time to talk to us about who you are. And this is all within the context of you and your school.
I'd say don't really pay attention to all the numbers. Like I say, not all GPAs are created equally. You can have a 3.8 and take no classes of any value versus a 3.56 and you're taking APs and honors. On the paper, 3.8 is greater than 3.56, but the second person's challenging themselves more. So don't get sucked into that. It's this number, it's this test score, it's this admit rate, it's this graduation rate. Just focus in on what you like about the school, location, geographic fit, social fit. Do you feel like you'll succeed there? That should be your guiding principle rather than some third party ranking system or things like that. Just really kind of be focused on and how best this school can suit your needs, both academically and socially.
And I'll just jump in and say, and this is kind of a non-traditional perspective, I do work with a lot of transfer students, and it's okay if you don't get it right the first time. If you don't feel like a school is a good fit, it is okay to take the non-traditional route, or even if you're thinking about starting at community college, just start to form those pathways. But ultimately, we want you to succeed. And sometimes you think that a big school or a small school, you know, is the right move, and sometimes it's the opposite. So don't be afraid to kind of revise, you know, that decision, revise your major. There's room for like flexibility. And I feel like we don't talk a lot about like the non-traditional ways to get to college, but don't be afraid of those things.
I would say that every single student has a different path, and some paths are different for every person. So that being said, every application looks a little different too. Some people have a lot of groups, a lot of clubs. Some people are working to take care of their family, who are trying to help to put, to help their family out. Anything and everything that makes you who you are is what you should submit in your application, so that the person reviewing your application has a full idea of who you are and the experiences that you've had in your life. Submit everything and let it be known.
I love all of this because these are some really good sort of myths or stories that, you know, are in the process, and to be able to have this real deal information from the people who work with families, work with the students, and help guide them through this process is just invaluable. So we have now come to the end of our time together. I first want to thank all of our representatives. Thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing in a very quick 6 minutes, I know, some really great insight into not just the facts and the figures about each of your schools, but the opportunities and the community for your students in and outside the classroom. I hope everyone watching, maybe you came with 1 or 2 schools in mind, but now I'm pretty sure you've got 5 schools you need to check out, even more after today. So I hope this has been really insightful in your college search process, and you will follow up with all of these representatives and learn even more about what each of the schools has to offer, and that you know that college admissions counselors are real people who are here to help and guide you and answer your questions. They love questions, trust me. That's my tip. Ask them questions to learn what you need to learn about each campus. All right, now the logistics of wrapping up and signing off for tonight. So we just want to remind everyone that you still have more sessions that you can sign up for as a part of the Cristo Rey Network Virtual College Fair programming. So we hope you'll go back to the schedule, sign up to join us for more sessions. You'll also be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other session recordings, at that same website in the coming days, strivescan.com/Cristo-Rey. Thanks again, everyone, and to all of our students, best of luck on your college search process. You have a wonderful and exciting journey ahead, and we hope this is a great start for you. Have a good night, everyone.